Okay, now we've come to routine and consistency. And as we're about to go back into a new school year, I thought this was the best time to talk about it. And if it's not a school thing and it's just you getting on with your life, then I'm just here to tell you that although I am being the fun police, routine and consistency are key. So it's about taking away chaos and putting in the simplest things that are going to make it much more streamlined for you from the moment you wake up. So yes, alarms on phones to remind you to do certain things, or if it's young children, then getting lists and working through those lists of what do we have to do today, what do we start our day with, what happens then, and just putting that clear routine in place. I also think, I know that I have done so much better with planners. I thrive on planners, and it doesn't mean that you have to have 12 targets a day. It just means that you are working to a pattern instead of it's kind of just like whirling around from one thing to another. It really does help a lot to have a planner, and you can get them quite cheaply off Amazon. They're just there to remind you. And also, when you have a planner, you can tick off what you've done, and it actually makes you feel really good when you realize how much you are getting in place and how much you are getting done. And that's just the simple things. It might be just a few tasks you've got to do a day, but it is very reassuring. The other thing about the planner is it helps you to stop and notice the things that went really well and also the things that didn't go so well, and see, again, are there patterns to this? But it's really good for your nervous system to think about the things that have gone well during the day and actually let yourself marinate in that for a minute, rather than always focusing on the next thing and not stopping and realizing what you've achieved. I will also say, as well as planners, I'm a big fan of lists, as I've said, but also, putting a menu. If you're in a family, put a menu up for the week and work out with the family what that menu is going to be. You could get people involved in it. All these things are just a way of streamlining the focus and attention that we need to try and work on. So if that's school situation, then having a very set routine in the morning, and even having a very predictable breakfast in the morning. It's just a way of making sure that your loved one goes into school having had a very streamlined morning, because they're walking into a classroom, as I've said before, it's so tough being in that school environment all day. And if you're trying to harness your focus and you've come from a chaotic morning where nothing was really in place, it's twice as hard. And on another tip on that, with bedrooms, the more you can put things in place. There are things on Amazon, I did have a look this morning, and they're quite cheap. They're called cubes. So it means that you can put things in place and they can stay in that place and they can go back in that place and come out from that place, because it's so stressful, as we all know, when you can't find anything. And so having everything in a place makes it a lot easier, less likely to have meltdowns. So you can get those storage cubes off Amazon or other places. I'm not advertising for Amazon at all. I'm just saying that's where I saw them. So these are all things that as you go into the new school year, or just as you start over with this ADHD journey, these are all things that I've found in the many years that I've managed my ADHD have been key and really working. I will be setting up more for the rest of the week, and I did say I put an audio on my website last night. If you look under blogs, it's a relaxation audio, and it's just a few minutes to reset the nervous system. If you've got any questions, anything you want me to address, any questions about ADHD or anything at all, just let me know underneath, and I'll try and help as much as possible.